Not because she was late. Not because she was out of uniform. But because no one could figure out why a woman wearing the insignia of a junior officer had been invited to a high-level Navy SEAL operations meeting, one reserved exclusively for commanders, admirals, and war-seasoned strategists. And then the SEAL admiral laughed. "The hook, Lieutenant," Admiral Rourke smirked, leaning back in his chair as if the world itself bowed to him. "You're in the wrong room. Unless you're here to bring us coffee." A few officers chuckled. She didn't blink, didn't flinch. She simply set her folder on the table, eyes cold, steady. "I'm exactly where I need to be, Admiral," she said calmly. "And I don't drink coffee during fleet evaluations." Rourke raised an eyebrow. "Fleet evaluations? That's above your pay grade, Lieutenant." The room waited, silent. Then she said the two words that froze the Admiral. Froze everyone, in place. "Fleet Commander. Begin story." Rourke's smirk faded so sharply it looked painful. The air in the room tightened, as if the walls themselves inhaled but forgot how to breathe. "Excuse me," he asked quietly. She opened her folder and placed a single document in front of him. A classified directive bearing a signature every officer in the room recognized immediately, the Secretary of the Navy. Effective immediately. Captain Elena Vale is appointed Fleet Commander, Task Force Orion. The lieutenant's insignia on her collar. A deliberate misdirection. An assignment she hadn't requested but had accepted to personally evaluate field discipline and leadership integrity within the SEAL Command hierarchy. A field test. And Admiral Rourke had just failed it spectacularly. Her journey. Elena Vale hadn't risen through the ranks by accident. She had grown up the daughter of a petty officer who died during a mission that suffered from miscommunication and leadership arrogance. That loss carved something sharp inside her, an oath that no soldier under her command would ever be dismissed, ignored, or sacrificed due to ego. She fought her way through the academy. Through flight training. Through maritime operations. Through commanding destroyers and bringing entire crews home from situations that should have ended in folded flags. She didn't want the title Fleet Commander. She wanted to earn the right to protect the people who would trust her with their lives. And she had, quietly, relentlessly, without ever needing to humiliate others. But today she needed to expose a problem festering inside the SEAL leadership, arrogance that endangered missions. The Admiral's realization. Rourke swallowed hard. You were sent to evaluate me." "No," Elena replied, "I was sent to evaluate the culture." "Your reaction simply confirmed the report." He stared at the hands that had once been steady enough to command thousands. Now they shook. Even the officers who had smirked earlier looked away in shame. Elena continued, her voice steady but not cruel. "I don't care if someone is a recruit fresh out of training or an admiral with 3 decades of experience. Respect for every rank, every role, every person, that's what keeps people alive out there." There was no anger in her tone. That's what made it cut deeper. The crisis. An alarm suddenly blared, slicing the tension in half. A destroyer, USS Kestrel, had lost engine power near hostile waters. A SEAL extraction team was stranded. No air support had clearance. No other fleet commander was within range. All eyes turned to Elena. Without hesitation, she took command. She issued rapid-fire orders, coordinating air support, drone coverage, and a rerouted strike group. She pulled Rourke beside her, not to shame him, but because she believed people learned best by doing. "You're with me," she said. "Not a punishment, a second chance." For the next 2 hours, the operation was a storm of controlled precision. Elena's strategy turned what could have been a tragedy into a flawless evacuation. When the final SEAL team member stepped safely onto the extraction vessel, the room erupted, not in applause, but in awe. They had just witnessed what leadership looked like. After the operation, Rourke approached her slowly. "Fleet Commander Vale, I owe you an apology." "No," she replied gently. "You owe it to your people. But you can start with yourself." He nodded, humbled in a way no reprimand could ever achieve. The message. When she addressed the room before leaving, her words carried the weight of someone who had lived through the consequences of leadership failures. "Rank isn't a crown," she said. "It's a responsibility. And if you ever forget that, even for a second, you fail the people who would die for you." She picked up her folder, nodded to the officers, and walked out. The room remained silent long after she left. Not out of fear, out of respect. Ending note for a YouTube video. Elena Vale became known not for being the youngest fleet commander in her division, but the most trusted. Her story echoed across bases and fleets, reminding everyone that true leadership isn't loud, arrogant, or decorated. It's humble, it's steady, it lifts others rather than pushing them down. And sometimes, it walks into a room wearing a lower rank, just to see who still remembers what honor looks like.